The day Earth changed forever started like any other. People went about their daily lives, unaware that high above them, something extraordinary was happening. In the vast darkness of space, a massive ship appeared near Earth's orbit. It was unlike anything humans had ever seen or built. The ship was sleek and shiny, with strange symbols etched on its surface. It moved silently, defying the laws of physics as humans understood them. World leaders were quickly alerted. They gathered in secret, trying to decide what to do. Should they tell everyone about the alien ship, or keep it quiet to avoid panic? As they debated, the decision was made for them. The alien ship sent a message. It appeared on every TV, computer, and phone screen around the world. The aliens wanted to talk. People everywhere stopped what they were doing. They stared at their screens in shock and wonder. Was this real? Were aliens actually contacting Earth? The message was simple. We come in peace. We wish to meet with your leaders. After hours of frantic discussion, Earth's representatives agreed to meet the aliens. A group of world leaders, scientists, and military personnel gathered at a neutral location, a large field in the middle of nowhere. As they waited nervously, a small craft detached from the main ship and descended towards them. It landed softly on the grass, barely making a sound. A door opened, and out stepped the first aliens humans had ever seen. They were tall and thin, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. They had large, almond-shaped eyes and no visible nose or mouth. They moved with a fluid grace that made them seem almost weightless. The lead alien stepped forward and spoke. Somehow, everyone could understand its words, even though its lips didn't move. Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Zorax. We have traveled far to meet you. One of the human leaders, a woman named Sarah, stepped forward to respond. Welcome to Earth. We're honored to meet you. May I ask why you've come? The alien tilted its head, as if confused by the question. We are explorers. We seek out new civilizations to study and evaluate. Something about the way the alien said evaluate made Sarah feel uneasy, but she pushed the feeling aside and continued. We're happy to share information about our world and our species. We hope we can learn from each other. The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. Learn from you. I'm afraid you misunderstand. We are far more advanced than your species. There is little you could teach us. Sarah frowned. This wasn't going as she had hoped. I'm sure we have different strengths and knowledge to share. Our cultures and experiences are unique. The alien waved a long, thin hand dismissively. Your technology is primitive. Your understanding of the universe is limited. You have barely left your own planet. What could you possibly offer beings as advanced as us? The other human leaders started to mutter angrily. Who did these aliens think they were? Just because they had fancy spaceships didn't mean they were better than humans in every way. Sarah tried to keep calm. We may surprise you. Humans have achieved a lot in a short time. We're always learning and growing. The alien leader turned to its companions and made a series of clicks and whistles. They all seemed amused. When it turned back to Sarah, its tone was condescending. We have observed your species for some time. You fight among yourselves. You damage your own planet. You cling to outdated beliefs and systems. You are hardly ready to join the galactic community. Now Sarah was getting angry too. Yes, humans had problems. But they also had great potential. And who were these aliens to judge them? I think you'll find humans are full of surprises, Sarah said firmly. We may be younger than your species, but we're strong, creative, and determined. Don't underestimate us. The alien's large eyes narrowed. Is that a challenge, human? Sarah stood tall, meeting the alien's gaze. Maybe it is. Are you afraid to put your supposed superiority to the test? As tension filled the air, both humans and aliens realized that this first contact was about to take an unexpected turn. The stage was set for a clash that would prove just how formidable humanity could be. The air crackled with tension as humans and aliens faced each other. Sarah's challenge hung between them, daring the Zorax to prove their supposed superiority. The alien leader's eyes flashed with an emotion that might have been anger or perhaps excitement. "Very well, human. If you insist on testing yourselves against us, we accept." A murmur ran through the crowd of human leaders. Some looked worried, others determined. Sarah felt a mix of both, but she knew there was no backing down now. "What kind of test do you propose?" she asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The alien seemed to consider for a moment. "A contest," it said finally, "to prove which species is truly superior. We will each choose a champion to represent us in a trial of combat and strategy." One of the military leaders, a tall man named General Chen, stepped forward. "Combat. You want us to fight?" The alien made that strange laughing sound again. "Not a mindless brawl, human. A test of skill, strength, and intelligence. Something to truly measure the capabilities of our species." Sarah and the other leaders huddled together, speaking in hushed tones. "This is crazy," one of them said. "We can't risk everything on a single contest." "But if we refuse, we look weak," another argued. "They already think we're inferior. We need to prove them wrong." General Chen nodded. "I agree. We need to show these aliens what humans are made of." After a few more minutes of debate, they reached a decision. Sarah turned back to the alien leader. "We accept your challenge," she said, "but we have some conditions." The alien tilted its head, curious. "Go on." "First," Sarah said, "the contest must take place on neutral ground, not on your ship or anywhere you choose." The alien nodded. "Acceptable. We know of an uninhabited planet not far from here. It would serve our purposes." "Second," Sarah continued, "we need time to prepare. 1 Earth month." This time, the alien hesitated. "Your human concept of time is inefficient. We will allow you 1 rotation of your planet around its sun." Sarah did some quick math in her head. That was about 365 days, almost a year. Much more than she had hoped for. She nodded quickly before the alien could change its mind. "Agreed. And finally, we want to establish clear rules for this contest. No weapons that could destroy the planet or cause mass destruction. This is a test of skill, not just technology." The alien considered this for a long moment. Finally, it nodded. "Your terms are acceptable. We will return in 1 Earth year. Be prepared to choose your champion wisely. The fate of your species may depend on it." With that ominous warning, the aliens turned and walked back to their ship. In moments, they were gone, leaving behind a group of stunned humans and a lot of unanswered questions. As soon as the alien ship disappeared from view, chaos erupted. Leaders argued about what to do next. Scientists debated how to prepare. Military strategists started planning for every possible scenario. Sarah stood in the middle of it all, trying to keep everyone focused. "Listen," she shouted, and gradually the noise died down. "We have a year to get ready. We need to work together if we're going to have any chance of winning this contest." General Chen stepped up beside her. "She's right. This isn't about any one country or group. This is about all of humanity." Slowly, the others nodded in agreement. They might have their differences, but faced with this alien challenge, they knew they had to unite. As the sun set on that historic day, plans were already being made. Across the world, the best fighters, strategists, and scientists were being called up. Training facilities were being designed. New technologies were being developed. Humanity had 1 year to prepare for the greatest test it had ever faced. The countdown had begun, and the whole world held its breath, wondering who would be chosen as Earth's champion, and did they stand a chance against the aliens. The year of preparation flew by in a whirlwind of activity. Every nation on Earth put aside their differences to focus on one goal: getting ready for the alien challenge. In secret bases around the world, potential champions trained day and night. They pushed their bodies to the limit, learning new fighting styles and mastering old ones. They studied strategy games, solving complex puzzles, and sharpening their minds. Scientists worked around the clock, inventing new technologies that might give humans an edge. They created stronger, lighter materials for armor. They developed energy weapons that wouldn't harm the environment. They even tried to reverse engineer some of the alien technology they had seen during the first meeting. As the deadline approached, a worldwide tournament was held to choose Earth's champion. The best fighters from every country competed in a series of grueling tests. They had to prove not just their physical strength, but also their intelligence, creativity, and ability to adapt to unexpected situations. In the end, the choice came down to two finalists: Maria, a brilliant strategist and martial artist from Brazil, and Jamal, a former Special Forces soldier turned inventor from Nigeria. The final test was a simulated alien encounter. Maria and Jamal had to work together to solve a series of challenges designed to mimic what they might face in the real contest. As the simulation began, Maria and Jamal found themselves in a strange alien landscape. The sky was purple, and two suns hung low on the horizon. Strange plants with glowing leaves surrounded them. "Watch out," Jamal called, pulling Maria back just as a vine tried to wrap around her ankle. Maria nodded her thanks, then pointed to a structure in the distance. "That must be our goal. But how do we get there?" They faced obstacle after obstacle: quicksand that moved in impossible ways, flying creatures that shot sparks from their wings, puzzles written in an alien language that they somehow had to solve. Throughout it all, Maria and Jamal worked as a team. When Maria's quick thinking got them past a laser grid, Jamal was there to fight off the robot guardians on the other side. When Jamal's strength was needed to move a heavy object, Maria figured out exactly where it needed to go to unlock the next path. In the end, they reached the goal together, breathing hard but grinning with triumph. As the simulation faded away, Sarah and the other leaders watched in amazement. They had hoped to choose one champion, but now they realized they had something even better: a team. "Both of you will represent Earth," Sarah announced. "Your different skills complement each other perfectly. Together, you stand the best chance of beating whatever the aliens throw at us." Maria and Jamal looked at each other, surprised but pleased. They had started as competitors, but now they were partners, carrying the hopes of all humanity on their shoulders. As the day of the challenge drew near, final preparations were made. Maria and Jamal were fitted with special suits designed to protect them and enhance their natural abilities. They were given weapons that combined the best of human innovation with hints of alien technology. The night before the aliens were due to return, Maria and Jamal sat together, looking up at the stars. "Are you scared?" Maria asked softly. Jamal nodded. "A little, but mostly I'm excited. We've trained so hard for this. And think about it, we're going to be the first humans to set foot on an alien planet." Maria smiled. "You're right. Whatever happens tomorrow, we're making history." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, each lost in their own thoughts. Finally, Jamal spoke again. "We can do this, you know. We can win." Maria reached out and squeezed his hand. "Yes, we can. For Earth." As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, Maria and Jamal stood ready. In just a few hours, the alien ship would return. The greatest challenge humanity had ever faced was about to begin. The alien ship appeared in the sky exactly 1 year after its first visit. This time, instead of panic, a sense of determination spread across the Earth. Everyone watched and waited to see what would happen next. Maria and Jamal stood ready in their special suits, surrounded by world leaders and scientists. Sarah stepped forward as the alien leader approached. "We have returned, as promised," the alien said. "Are you prepared for the challenge?" Sarah nodded. "We are. These are our champions, Maria and Jamal." The alien's large eyes blinked in surprise. "Two. We agreed on one champion. We chose to combine their strengths," Sarah explained, "unless you're afraid to face both of them." The alien made a sound that might have been a snort. "Very well. It will make no difference in the end. Are you ready to travel to the challenge site?" Maria and Jamal looked at each other, then nodded. "We're ready," they said together. A beam of light shot down from the alien ship, surrounding the two human champions. In a flash, they'd vanished, along with the alien leader. When Maria and Jamal could see again, they found themselves on a strange planet. The ground beneath their feet was a deep red color. Two suns shone in a green sky. In the distance, they could see mountains that seemed to float above the ground. The alien leader stood before them. Next to it was another alien, taller and more muscular than any they had seen before. "This is Zaxlor, our champion," the alien leader said. "The challenge will take place in that arena." It pointed to a large structure nearby that looked like a mix between a coliseum and a maze. As they walked towards the arena, Maria whispered to Jamal, "Remember our training. We stick together and watch each other's backs." Jamal nodded. "Right. And we stay alert. Who knows what tricks they might have planned." Inside the arena, they found a complex landscape. There were high walls forming a maze, platforms at different heights, and areas that looked like they could change or move. The alien leader's voice boomed out, explaining the rules. "The challenge has 3 parts. First, a test of physical strength and agility. Then, a test of intelligence and problem-solving. Finally, a direct combat challenge. The first to complete all 3 tasks wins." Maria and Jamal took their positions at one end of the arena. Zaxlor stood at the other end. They all waited for the signal to begin. A loud horn sounded, and the challenge was on. Immediately, the ground began to shake. Walls rose and fell randomly, changing the layout of the maze. Maria and Jamal ran forward, working together to navigate the changing landscape. They helped each other climb walls, warned each other of falling obstacles, and quickly solved the direction puzzles that appeared in their path. Meanwhile, Zaxlor moved with incredible speed and strength. It leaped over high walls and smashed through obstacles that got in its way. But it was just one being, and it couldn't be everywhere at once. As they reached the end of the first part, Maria and Jamal were surprised to find themselves in the lead. They had worked so well together that they had outpaced the alien champion. But there was no time to celebrate. The second part of the challenge was about to begin. Strange symbols appeared on the walls around them, forming complex puzzles. "This must be the intelligence test," Maria said, studying the symbols. Jamal nodded. "Look, they're changing. I think we need to find the pattern and predict the next change." They put their heads together, combining Maria's strategic thinking with Jamal's quick problem-solving skills. Slowly but surely, they began to crack the code. Behind them, they could hear Zaxlor approaching. The alien champion had caught up and was working on the puzzles too. As they solved the final puzzle, opening the door to the third and final part of the challenge, Maria and Jamal shared a determined look. They were holding their own so far, but the hardest part was still to come. The combat challenge awaited, and with it, the true test of humanity's worth in the eyes of the aliens. As they stepped through the door, ready to face whatever came next, one thought kept them going. They weren't just fighting for themselves, but for the respect and future of all humankind. Maria and Jamal stepped into the final arena. It was a large, circular space with a hard, smooth floor. Strange symbols glowed on the walls, pulsing with energy. In the center stood Zaxlor, the alien champion, looking more intimidating than ever. The alien leader's voice echoed around them. "The final test begins now. You must defeat Zaxlor in combat. The fight will continue until one side surrenders or is unable to continue." Maria and Jamal looked at each other, nodding slightly. They had trained for this moment for a whole year. It was time to show what humans could do. Zaxlor moved first, faster than they expected. It charged at them, its long arms reaching out to grab them. Maria ducked and rolled to the side, while Jamal jumped back, barely avoiding the alien's grasp. "Split up," Maria called out. "Confuse it." They ran in opposite directions, circling Zaxlor. The alien turned its head back and forth, trying to keep both humans in sight. For a moment, it seemed unsure which one to chase. Jamal saw an opening and rushed in, aiming a punch at Zaxlor's midsection. But the alien was quicker than it looked. It caught Jamal's fist and lifted him off the ground. "Jamal!" Maria shouted. She ran towards them, but Zaxlor swung Jamal around like a weapon, forcing Maria to dodge her own partner. Thinking fast, Jamal activated a device on his suit. A small shock pulse ran through him and into Zaxlor. The alien grunted in surprise and dropped Jamal, who landed on his feet and quickly moved away. Now it was Maria's turn. While Zaxlor was distracted, she leaped onto its back, wrapping her arms around its neck. The alien spun around, trying to shake her off, but Maria held on tight. "Now, Jamal," she yelled. Jamal rushed in again, this time landing several quick punches on Zaxlor's body. But the alien seemed barely affected. With a roar, it reached back and grabbed Maria, throwing her across the arena. Maria hit the ground hard but rolled with the impact, just like she had practiced. She was back on her feet in seconds, but her left arm hurt badly. Zaxlor turned its attention to Jamal, who was now alone in front of it. The alien's eyes narrowed, and it began to move forward slowly, like a predator stalking its prey. Jamal stood his ground, his mind racing. He remembered something from their training, a technique they had developed but never had a chance to test. It was risky, but it might be their only chance. "Maria," he called out, "remember the slingshot?" Maria's eyes widened. She nodded, understanding immediately. As Zaxlor lunged at Jamal, he dropped to the ground and rolled between the alien's legs. At the same moment, Maria ran forward. Jamal sprang up behind Zaxlor and locked his hands with Maria's. Together, they pulled hard, using their combined strength and the alien's own momentum to flip it over their heads. Zaxlor, caught by surprise, went flying through the air. It crashed to the ground with a loud thud that shook the entire arena. For a moment, everything was quiet. Maria and Jamal stood side by side, breathing hard, watching Zaxlor carefully. Slowly, the alien champion began to move. It pushed itself up, shaking its head as if to clear it. Maria and Jamal tensed, ready for another round of fighting. But then something unexpected happened. Zaxlor looked at them, its large eyes blinking slowly. Then, to their amazement, it began to make a sound that the human champions realized was laughter. "Clever," Zaxlor said, speaking directly to them for the first time. "Very clever. You fight well, for humans." Maria and Jamal glanced at each other, unsure what to make of this. Was the fight over? Had they won? As if in answer to their unspoken questions, the alien leader's voice boomed out once again. "The combat trial is complete. An unexpected outcome indeed. But this challenge is not yet over. There is one final test that awaits you, humans. Prepare yourselves for the ultimate trial of your species' worth." Maria and Jamal stood tall, ready to face whatever came next. They had made it this far together. Whatever this final test was, they would face it the same way, as a team, representing the best of humanity. The arena around Maria and Jamal began to change. The walls faded away, replaced by a starry sky. The floor beneath their feet became transparent, showing them the vastness of space below. It felt as if they were floating among the stars. The alien leader appeared before them, its form shimmering like a hologram. "You have proven your physical strength and cleverness," it said. "But now comes the true test. We will judge your species not just on your ability to fight, but on your wisdom and your heart." Maria and Jamal exchanged puzzled looks. This wasn't what they had expected. "Before you," the alien continued, "you will see 3 planets. Each faces a terrible crisis. You must choose which one to save. You cannot help them all. The fate you choose for these worlds will show us the true nature of humanity. 3 planets appeared before them, floating in the starry void. As the alien had said, each one seemed to be in trouble. The first planet was covered in storms. Huge waves crashed over cities, and winds tore buildings apart. Millions of aliens were in danger from the wild weather. The second planet was at war. They could see explosions and battles raging across its surface. 2 alien species fought each other, causing destruction and suffering. The third planet was dying. Its plants were withering, its waters drying up. The aliens there were starving, their world unable to support them anymore. "You have 1 hour," the alien leader said. "Choose wisely." Then it disappeared, leaving Maria and Jamal alone with this impossible choice. "What do we do?" Jamal asked, his voice filled with worry. "How can we choose which world to save? They all need help." Maria shook her head, her mind racing. "I don't know, but we have to try. Let's think about each one carefully." They spent the next hours studying the planets, discussing the problems, and trying to figure out the best choice. It was the hardest decision they had ever faced. "The storm planet needs immediate help," Jamal said. "Those aliens could die any minute." Maria nodded. "But the war planet is killing itself. If we could stop the fighting, we'd save 2 species, not just 1. "What about the dying planet?" Jamal asked. "It's a slower problem, but if we don't help them, that entire world will be lost forever." As the hour neared its end, they still hadn't made a choice. Both felt the weight of this decision heavily on their shoulders. "Wait," Maria said suddenly. "Maybe we're thinking about this the wrong way." The alien said this test was about wisdom and heart. What if choosing is the wrong answer? Jamal's eyes widened as he understood. "You mean?" "We choose all of them," Maria said firmly. "We find a way to help them all." Just then, the alien leader reappeared. "Your time is up," it said. "What is your choice?" Maria stepped forward, standing tall. "We choose to help all 3 planets," she said. The alien's eyes narrowed. "That is not one of the options. You must choose only one." But Jamal joined Maria, his voice strong. "No, that's not the human way. When faced with impossible choices, we find another way. We don't give up on those who need help just because it's hard. We would use the technology from the storm planet to help the dying planet," Maria explained. "We'd bring the 2 fighting species to the storm planet to help them work together against a common threat. And we'd all work together to heal the dying world, giving both other populations a new home if needed. It wouldn't be easy," Jamal added. "But by working together, we could save everyone. That's what humanity does at its best. We don't accept no-win situations. We find a way to win for everyone." The alien leader was silent for a long moment. Maria and Jamal held their breath, wondering if they had made a terrible mistake. Finally, the alien spoke. "Interesting," it said. "Very interesting indeed. Perhaps we have underestimated your species after all." The starry void around them began to fade. As the real world came back into view, Maria and Jamal realized that their greatest challenge yet was about to begin. They had passed the test, but what would it mean for humanity's future among the stars? Maria and Jamal found themselves back on Earth, standing in the same field where they had first met the aliens a year ago. The world leaders and scientists who had been waiting anxiously rushed forward, eager to hear what had happened. Sarah reached them first. "Are you okay? What happened up there?" Before they could answer, the air shimmered, and the alien leader appeared. Everyone fell silent, waiting to hear the final verdict on humanity's fate. The alien's large eyes swept over the crowd. "Humans," it began, "you have surprised us. When we first came to your world, we saw only your conflicts, your divisions. We thought you primitive and unworthy of joining the galactic community." The humans held their breath, fearing the worst. But then the alien continued. "But your champions have shown us something unexpected. In the face of impossible choices, you chose compassion. When given the option to save one, you insisted on saving all. This is not a common trait among the species we have encountered." A murmur of hope ran through the crowd. Maria and Jamal looked at each other, barely daring to smile. "We came to test your strength," the alien said. "We found instead your heart. Perhaps this is a strength greater than we understood." The alien leader turned to face Maria and Jamal directly. "Your solution to our final test was unorthodox, impractical, some might say. And yet, it speaks to an optimism, a determination that we find intriguing. You refuse to accept the impossible. You insist on finding a way to help all, even at great cost to yourselves. That's what being human means," Jamal said quietly. "We don't give up on each other." Maria nodded. "Or on anyone who needs help, even if they're not from our world." The alien made a sound that might have been a chuckle. "So we have seen. Very well, humans, you have earned our respect, and with it, an opportunity." The crowd leaned in, eager to hear what this meant. "We will not, as we have done with other worlds, simply leave you to yourselves. Instead, we offer you a chance to prove your words with actions. The 3 worlds you saw in our test. They are real, and they do face those crises." Gasps of surprise rippled through the assembled humans. The test had been real all along. "If you truly wish to show your worth," the alien continued, "then work with us to save these worlds. Show us that your champion's words were not mere boasts, but a true reflection of humanity's spirit." Sarah stepped forward. "We accept," she said without hesitation. "Humanity stands ready to help." The alien nodded. "Very well. We will return in one of your Earth years. Use this time to prepare, to plan how you will aid worlds far beyond your own. If you succeed, you will have proven yourselves ready to join the galactic community. If you fail..." It left the consequence unspoken, but everyone understood. This was humanity's great test, their chance to prove their place among the stars. As the alien leader faded away, promising to return with more details, the field erupted in a mix of cheers and anxious chatter. The task ahead was enormous, perhaps the greatest challenge humanity had ever faced. Maria and Jamal found themselves surrounded by people offering congratulations and asking questions. But for a moment, they managed to find a quiet space just for them. "We did it," Maria said, still sounding a bit shocked. Jamal nodded. "We did, but now the real work begins." They looked up at the sky, where the alien ship was just a fading light among the stars. Somewhere out there were 3 worlds in desperate need of help. Worlds that would decide the future of humanity. "Are we ready for this?" Maria asked softly. Jamal took her hand and squeezed it gently. "I don't know," he admitted, "but I do know one thing." "What's that?" He smiled at her, his eyes full of determination. "Whatever comes next, we'll face it the same way we faced everything else. Together." As the sun set on this historic day, humanity looked to the stars with new eyes. They had been challenged, tested, and found worthy of a chance. Now they had 1 year to prove that humans truly could make a difference on a galactic scale. The greatest adventure in human history was about to begin.